many of you actually, before this process, knew where Gilman Square is? You did? I think it's probably the most obscure square in Somerville. And you'll see here that if you don't know where it is, you'll notice that this is essentially the north side of the tracks that are going to be going through here. Gilman Square is sort of this area right in here. And if you go to the next slide, we wanted to point out what's around it. Gilman Square is rich in gas stations. and our biggest pie in the sky was to tear down some of those gas stations, but we assumed we had been told that that would take years and years and years and years, so we just didn't include that in our plan. There is if you're familiar with the Piano Factory, which has a lot of small artists and working inside of it primarily, and I believe a small business. Paddock Restaurant, which is the key cultural gathering place in that neighborhood. You'll see here Pearl Street, and there are a whole bunch of artist studios sort of scattered around down in this neighborhood as well. One of the things that we're going to come back to as we talk about our thought process is the City Hall, right here, the whole high school, and the main library are all up here. And if you're familiar with this terrain, you'll know that this is a very, very steep decline down from the City Hall with no paths on it whatsoever. Whereas on this side, the station will be almost at ground level, and there are quite a lot of easy entrances to it. Okay, I think that's next. You'll see MassDOT put the Gilman Square station right here, as is shown. The orientation here has changed. The high school's down here. And the rest of Gilman Square is over here. You'll see it's positioned right sort of to the west of Medford Street here, with part of it extending towards School Street. Next slide. One of the things we were urged to consider as we thought about the opportunity that the space presented was that there is a major city-owned building here. And when we're talking about local art, we determined that the best local art, like the Ball and Square, for this station would be to have a big statue of a peanut butter jar, because apparently this city-owned building was originally a peanut butter factory. Currently, it's completely unoccupied. It has some very nice old architectural elements to it, and it's really worth looking at it if you haven't seen it. Okay, once again, Walnut Street is over here on this side, School Street is over here, Medford here, and then the neighborhoods around. One of the things I didn't mention about the neighborhood is it is a vast residential neighborhood, if you consider Winter Hill, the part down here towards McGrath, and also up School Street, on the other side of School Street, and on the other side of Walnut Street to some degree. One of the big opportunities we saw that was really missing in their design originally was that there's another big community that is not being served by this particular station, and that is the high school. The high school is a big high school. We were lucky enough to have 2 high school students on our working group who explained to us what would happen if we could create a better connection from the high school to the station. We think it would benefit the whole community. Okay, next slide. Sorry, I'm sorry.
You're drifting.
Very hard. I'll get over here.
Okay.
Again, this is just another view of the same site from a distance. Next slide. Let's see. Could you go back one? Sorry. Oh yeah, okay. One of the things for connectivity that we decided was very important was to add again those other accesses to the top of that hill, which is in fact just as close geographically as everything that's on the bottom of the hill. And what we wanted to do was really make sure that there were quite a few more connections than just the 2 that were proposed by MassDOT, which is one to Medford Street, one overpass to the bike path, going up from the bike path here onto the station. And so we proposed some way of integrating School Street here on the side. This again is completely unused space. Some of it could be landscaped much more attractively. It could become a nice way of getting down to the bike path. So we understand that there is going to be an exit there. and would make it clear that there is some relationship with this side of Somerville. Similarly, I don't know how many of you have walked down from the back of the library parking lot, down the stairs, down Medford Street in this direction. It's a brutal walk, partly because it's so exposed and it's just so ugly, and so we would propose that there's a more visible and better landscaped and probably broader sidewalk to serve people coming down from behind the library. And this could either continue down Medford Street, or there could also be an entrance to it on this side of the bridge from the bike path. So this would be essentially a connector to City Hall and all the residential neighborhoods here. This would connect to the library primarily, and the residential neighborhoods here. And we would add an overpass, a pedestrian overpass to the high school. We thought that that was incredibly important, and there were a lot of reasons that it might be challenging, not one of which is, of course, security. Many companies use card keys. The high school students don't use card keys. We'd have to really determine carefully who would we want to go in and out of this entrance to the station. Next slide. Let's see. Okay. The one big sort of cornerstone of what we want to do has to do with that old peanut butter factory. We would like to retain that factory. It belongs to the city. We've been told that it's possible to possibly get a hold of that for the whole area. We would then change around to some degree the way that the station is laid out, in the sense that we would put green space around this whole area. There would be a drop-off, pickup, and handicap parking area behind, going around the back of this. We had imagined that we would tear down the pieces of that building that are actually sort of strange additions. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there's a loading dock. There's another addition on this side that's not the same height. We would make it into a sort of integral, all the same height building. We thought it would be a mini mall with some just regular convenience stores, with potentially restaurants, certainly with cafes. And the high school kids pointed out to us that they wanted there to be places there where they could find work, either after school or during the summer. And we imagined trying to think about how could we structure the services that were available there to support that desire. The other thing we imagined in this center, there are all kinds of community resources that could be put there. One of which, again, to support the job creation for teenagers, would be a job center. And you may or may not be aware that the closest job center, training center for the state is in Fresh Pond. And so we thought that that would be a good location for that. We did some other minor sort of things. We moved down the overpass to allow for the high school access. We moved the bike path to the other side of the station, and we added some green space here because we would have released that space having removed some of the building here. And then the most exciting thing that we determined was that we think that there has to be a north-south bus route, possibly going from, that was Linda's insistence, it could go conceivably all the way from Ten Hills to Union Square or even beyond. That would be extremely useful. There are currently no good cross-Somerville bike paths, and this is the logical place we thought to put it, right here with all of the city offices, high school, and library. I think that's the last slide, but I just wanted to point out that our vision is essentially not so much to make Gilman Square more visible, which is, of course, we want more people to know that it exists, but more to create this as a kind of Somerville center and gateway that has a lot of reasons to go there, both the pleasantness of the site as well as all the services that are around it. We felt that the MassDOT proposal assumed that it was just residential and people were going to leave there, but never thought about having people come back. So.